Most kids dream of becoming a security technician when they grow up. But the truth is, some dreams should really stay as dreams. If this is your first time here, my name is Ken. This is James. We're known as the Security Bros. And when we're not busy making these videos for you, we're running a security systems business in the real world. And so the question is, should you make this dream a reality? Should you become a professional security technician?
The first thing we got to answer is, what does a security technician do?
What do they do?
What do they do? Well, they install and service access control systems, alarm systems, camera systems, intercom systems. So now that you know what they do, you kind of have to figure out, do you want to be commercial or residential? Some companies do both. In residential, you're dealing with the actual customer, like the people in the house. In like a commercial setting, it's just a little easier usually to get in there and get all the cables where you need to be.
Sometimes the hours may be a bit later for a residential technician because the homeowner is not even around.
Could be,
later.
Or they just schedule stuff when people like have taken off of work, or a lot of people work from home though. With some of these companies, they have me working all kinds of hours, like nights and weekends and like.
I did not do that when I first started. Usually in commercial, you should be able to work during the day, and you do night work if it's an emergency on-call service type of a thing. One of the big differences between residential and commercial would be the type of system that's being installed, especially when we're talking about access control, because residential clients aren't using commercial access control systems on their house.
That is true.
They will be more likely to use something closer to a DIY system.
They probably aren't doing access control anyway. Maybe just like one of those little wireless door locks or something.
Exactly.
You know, so.
And that's why I say closer to DIY, because they'll make those wireless locks that tie into a professional alarm system. Usually what happens is the alarm manufacturer has taken one of those wireless locks, flashed it with their firmware so it connects to their system.
I think residential security companies are likely to dabble more with AV stuff as well. So where you may sub out your access control and say like intercom work, a company will put in audio visual components.
Yeah, it's going to be much more gadgety.
And residential, you got to deal with the actual homeowner. I don't prefer that. You know, a lot of times homeowners, they're going to be a little more hovery. They care a lot more about anything you're doing.
It's easier to build residential clients. And even for us, even though we're not residential at all, we still get residential customers calling, asking about service because there's just a lot more homes than there are businesses. Commercial is more professional. I think it requires a more professional team. It requires more processes, and the way you deal with people is it's more business as opposed to anything you're doing residential. It's going to feel personal. The person you're dealing with, it's usually their home that they live in, and everything about it is personal. It's going to be to their personal taste. They're going to want things that reflect them on a personal level, you know, like with the audio and the visual and the type of sensors that are being used, where they're placed, as opposed to a commercial environment where the things that are trying to be solved, the problems that are trying to be solved are often things like liability. They've got a lot of other stuff they're running in a company, and that as their role of probably a manager of some sort. And they just want to make sure that they have the proper security camera coverage and they are doing like a good job in their role at the company. It's not reflecting on them as a person.
Residential probably has a little more custom work too, I would say. Whereas they're going to be more particular about matching things up. Say you have a bronze door or something. You're going to want to match the devices installed to the decor in the home so it blends a little better. Whereas in commercial, that's typically not so much of an issue. You won't really have to worry about it. You would just have to install it. The scheduling, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, kind of your normal working hours. You're going to have on-call and weekend work. Most commercial security companies are going to have an on-call rotation of some sort.
If you aren't comfortable doing some travel, I wouldn't bother getting into this industry. You don't have to travel that much if you get in with the right company. Larger security companies typically have clients that are over a much broader geographical range, but much larger companies also have multiple branches, which means that usually you don't have to travel much if you're a technician, because anything that would be outside of your area is handled by a different branch. However, that's not always the case if an existing customer is now growing, which is how a lot of these businesses grow. they have clients that are growing. A bank takes over another bank. That bank has hundreds of branches that are located in another state. So this is how the bank is going to grow. The thing is that the security company grows with the bank. So when that bank is now working in West Virginia, now the security company is working in West Virginia. So they go out and they get the license for West Virginia, and now they have to service that area. They might use technicians from another area to go service it initially. Sometimes there's work that has to be done to convert those new branches over onto the bank that's buying them. And then what happens is that after that conversion is done, so there's some traveling there, but after that's done, the security company will then look to have technicians stationed in the area. Even if there's not a branch there yet, maybe there's not enough work to merit having a whole office, but they might have some remote technicians, or like one technician at least that's in that area. They might pay to relocate someone, or they might preferably just find someone that already lives out there. I say all that because most of the time there's not traveling, but in these isolated cases, there will be some traveling. So if you can't do at least some, then this is not the job for you. Yeah, the companies where you'll make more money will have travel involved, because to say we are only going to service this area and we're going to stay in that area means that that company is not working with a growing client base, which means they aren't bringing in the same amount of money. Right. So to truly stay in one area where no travel would ever be necessary, it means that they're being limited in terms of resources. So their ability to pay more money is going to be limited.
Or the company is big enough that they are spread out everywhere with a lot of clients already, so they are able to just keep people in geographical areas to service their already large clientele.
There are still scenarios where travel is involved, even for those, actually, especially for those companies.
So looking at the outlook of your career, what would this look like? I know a lot of places are going to require, or a lot of careers or trades require some sort of special schooling.
You definitely need education. The question is, where do you get it? For you, you got your education on the job. You know, for me, I learned certain things in college. Some people go to trade schools.
Right.
Just like any profession, all the stuff that matters is learned on the job.
You don't need any special education like going to a specific college and getting a degree in something. It makes it a very easily accessible career to get into, because you can just go to a company, and if you have a great work ethic and maybe a good personality, and you're able to explain that you're willing to work hard and you're ready to learn, you can actually start literally from the bottom. And I think that goes without saying. I have here, you don't need any previous experience.
There's a caveat to that. Most people that come in without any formal training, they knew somebody. There was somebody that was already in a company that like referred this apprentice into the business.
Yeah, I'm sure that would go a long way.
That was true for you.
Yeah.
It was even true for me. For the very first security company I worked at, one of the engineers working there, I was working for the client. He met me installing a system. I was assisting in various ways, helping to pull cable. They needed an apprentice, and then they chatted with my boss to see if it was okay to offer me a job. One thing led to another, and I got into this industry. Same for you.
Yep.
You knew somebody who referred you. That's how you,
maybe you.
And the guy who hired you, he said, I will hire James if you promise that he's just like you. If he's like you, then it would be worth hiring him. If you have nothing on the resume to give yourself an edge, then it helps to know someone in the business. It's not that it can't be done. It absolutely could be done if you're persistent and you really want to do it, but it's a big risk, because a lot of people, they start and then they find out this isn't really for me, and then they leave, and then the company they've wasted time trying to train this person when they could have been training somebody else, which is why it helps if you at least have something. Maybe you took a class on something in college, or you went to a trade school, or you haven't
educated online.
Or this one I like, if you were already doing some sort of blue collar thing beforehand. So I already know you like working with your hands and you can stick with it. If that's the case, then I can train you here. But some people, they come out of working in a restaurant, and then they're thinking, well, I can make a little more money here, but then they find out, wow, Okay, the restaurant is temperature controlled. It's cool in the summer, it's heated in the winter. A lot of the places that we work are outside. So it's brutal in both the winter and the summer.
We're making this video so you kind of understand what being a security technician is. When I'm saying you come to somebody and try to get a job with zero experience, I'm not saying you come off of being a server and go, hey, I want a job as a security tech, bro, hook me up. Even if you've gone to the trade school, apparently you can still be thick in the head. But if I got a kid who comes to me and has done some, there's tons of information online, watched some YouTube videos, looked into it and been like, hey, I would love to have a job in this career. It seems super interesting. The technical stuff gets me, whatever, and prove that they had some sort of interest in it and were actually willing to work for what they were worth, which is not very much because all the investments on our company. And they were like, hey, I just really want to work hard, prove myself, learn some stuff. I'd be happy to give that guy a chance because I would love to work with a guy like that.
Yeah.
But you got people who come in and they're like, yeah, I want a job. And it's, whatever. That's a bad example, but it's
actually
it's
a good
the
example.
vibe you get.
I got a call from someone like that. He says, hey man, I need a job. And I'm like, well, why this career though? Like why specifically? Because you haven't worked in it before.
Right.
You don't have any experience that's similar. So what made you think I want to work for this company in this industry? And he said, just because I need a job, I'll just take anything, dude. This isn't I'll just take anything, dude, kind of a industry. It's going to take you years to become any good and worth any kind of money. If you just need a job of some kind, go to McDonald's or Amazon. They're always hiring.
Yeah. A lot of people come into this industry, they don't have a lot to offer because they don't know anything, but they want higher pay. So you have to be willing to start at the bottom with the pay and work your way up. And that doesn't have to take a long time. It's entirely up to the person how much they want to apply themselves and how much they want to learn and how much value they want to provide to the company that they're working at. Okay, and that'll make them more money.
That's part of it.
Okay,
that's
assuming the other part.
It's assuming they're working at a company that gives them the opportunity. Some companies don't do that. If the company is super niche on something or they have some department that's super niche and you get like the same experience over and over and over with us, we have our core 4, we talk about it all the time, and we're happy to give people experience in CCTV, access control, alarm sensors, and intercom, but we will try to keep increasing their skills so they're worth more money so they can do project management and even go higher. Some companies don't offer that, but you can still get it because you can always move to another company. Like if you've maxed out at your current company, you can just go to another company that does other things.
Yeah.
And then get more experience. It's really up to the technician. They can become worth more money. The caveat is they may not be able to do it all in one company. They might actually have to switch a few times.
It's a career where there is vertical movement for you.
What you start at, if you don't know anything, of course depends on the company because you're worthless when you first start. Actually, you're a liability when you first start.
You cost the company money.
It actually takes me longer to get a job done when I have a newbie because I not only have to do the work, I also have to teach it. The person is not helpful to me. They actually cost me time, but we're still paying them. So I think starting out, that's really not as important as where are you after a year. Now, the starting pay is probably somewhere in the $15 to $18 an hour range. Some companies, if they're really aggressive, might offer a little more. You can quickly become, if you're willing to learn, you can quickly become worth more money. And a lot of it depends on how many things do you know? Like, do you know how to do access control? Do you know how to do CCTV? Do you know how to do, alarm systems? After a year, you can be worth in the 20s. Really experienced guys could probably make in the 30s.
I've seen postings generally just like in the DC, Maryland area for, higher level techs anywhere between 30 and 50 an hour. It just depends on your skill level, competence, what the company is. There's a nice wide range. So
part of how you can make yourself worth more money, because this is something that I did. A previous company, they offered to make me their highest paid technician in the entire company. I had only been in the industry for a few years. Thing is, how do you do that? And a lot of it is being willing to constantly move up. And I don't mean moving up for more money. I generally have made my decisions based on things that aren't financial related, and they're just based on, I like new challenges. I didn't negotiate for more money. I usually negotiated for a better pick of things that I would do in the company, as opposed to like skills that I wanted, experience that I wanted. I don't think anybody else ever did that, which is why I went from being the lowest paid technician to within like less than 4 years, they were offering me to make me the highest paid technician. I was so serious about it that I was willing to also leave the company to go pursue things that I wasn't able to get in the company. I never viewed myself as the level that I was at. I viewed myself as much higher up, and I was willing to do the things I had to do to keep climbing, including eventually starting my own company.
Simplest way to break down what a security technician is blue collar labor work meets an engineering mindset. You're doing like a lot of hands-on, technical, sometimes very dirty work, a lot of blue-collar type deal. But there's a lot of, you have to be able to understand how to read drawings. You have to think about how all the wiring works, how different systems connect together, and be able to like piece all those different things together to make systems work. So that's can be fun if that is your thing. And if you're into, say, like puzzles, it could be a good job if you're into puzzles, because sometimes figuring out how all the systems are working in a building can be quite a puzzle. If you enjoy travel and like drive time and having some time to listen to a podcast or listen to an audiobook, it's probably going to be a good job, because even if you're not doing the whole like out of state travel like we were talking about, there's still like, it can take you hours to get around just between where you're going. So a lot of time for, you can either, listen to some nice fiction books, or you could increase your education by listening to some nonfiction books, which could be good. So there's a lot of time for that. And last but not least, I'll just say that not every company is the same. Yeah, if you're working for one that you're not working out well with, try looking somewhere else, because there's definitely other companies that are going to be a better fit.
A lot of companies start out strong,
Yeah.
and employees like working there, and then eventually they get purchased by an investment group or a corporation, a very large or a larger security company, and everything changes, and it just in the worst way. Then people aren't happy there.
Yeah.
A lot of people end up sticking around though, these security companies that they claim they don't like working at.
I've met so many people, technicians, that just complain constantly about the company that they work for, and they won't leave.
Actually, I don't get, not in this area. There's so many.
Yeah. Just go somewhere else.
Look, I've put out some of the negatives. I like to start out with some of the downsides to things, right? Not being all upbeat and happy times.
Well, hit me with some happy times then. Some good positives.
So obviously I got into this industry and I stayed in this industry. I went to college for cybersecurity, information system security, and I could have gone into that. I actually like doing real things in the real world. I like working on technology that has real life application, not just theoretical numbers and data inside of a computer, but things are actually happening. Security cameras that we install catch things like car accidents, shootings. We caught a kidnapping like 2 weeks ago, being able to control elevators and parking garages and turnstiles and doors. And I just find that stuff to be very cool. For me, it's definitely been worth it. And for people that like working with their hands, there's a few different types of jobs within this industry that they might enjoy. There's some guys, they like to be a technician their entire life. You have guys that are in their 60s, they don't want to be anything besides the technician. They enjoy doing the technical work. Then you have other people where they're looking to get into project management or eventually be an operations manager or a branch manager. When I got into this business, the branch manager started as a technician, and that could be you. Question is, do you enjoy that kind of work? You don't really know until you do it. You can get yourself an apprenticeship, try it out for a bit, maybe it works out.
I think that's great advice.
And if you like really great advice, why don't you go ahead and like this video so we know. Share it so your friends know.
Bye.
Most kids dream of becoming a security technician when they become an adult. But then they become an adult and reality kicks in, and then dark dreams become matter, and then dark matter turns into things you don't want to know about. I had it in my head when I started. What was I trying to say?
Sounds like a Kanye West rant.
I don't know why.